Howdy YouTube, it's Dan, and Jennifer's actually recording me right now, but the reason why we are filming this particular snippet or this little vignette is because Jen and I were talking about some of the information that we wanted to share on this channel. We didn't want to just get repetitive and just slice of life stuff. We actually wanted to give you guys tools that you can use in your relationship and be able to put those into work, in action in your relationship, and actually see results. And the one that we want to talk about is conflict resolution today. Basically putting an end to an argument or putting an end to a fight. When Jen and I first got together, I was immature. I was 37 years old, but I was a big fat baby. My style of arguing was slash and burn, total annihilation. Something that I called an emotional fortress. I later bring that up in the book that we wrote, The Knuckleheads Guide to Marriage. But that emotional fortress, I didn't realize what I would do is I would retreat to that fortress, lock up all the gates, get into the highest tower, and just aim all the weaponry I had at the person that I was fighting with and just unleash and try to keep them as far away as I could, and did so much damage that they finally stopped arguing with me. And that was extremely, extremely destructive. But I brought that style of argument into my relationship with Jennifer, and very early on I realized that wasn't going to work. There were arguments that shouldn't have happened. There were things that were said that shouldn't have been done. Actions that were taken that shouldn't have happened. One in particular is we got into a knockdown, drag out, and the kids were here and they heard it, and we were screaming and yelling at each other. And I became very aggressive. I didn't put my hands on Jennifer or anything along that lines. I just like got into her face, and I feel really bad about it. So if I actually come to tears over that, it's real raw emotion even to this day, because this happened back in like 2013 or 2012. But what I told my wife at that point in time, I told her, I was like, you know what, you're replaceable. My kids aren't. 13. It was 2013, right? Yeah, yes. It was, because we were already married at that point. Legally married, because we actually got married in the Bahamas in 2011 to find out that it wasn't done properly. So anyway, that's a whole other story for another video. And when I said that to Jennifer, it stopped the fight. That she's replaceable. It stopped, but she left, and she didn't come home that night.
See ya.
Yeah. She went and stayed the night at her aunt's house. I actually went to her aunt's house in a very aggressive manner about 1 in the morning, and caught her aunt trying to hide her car, and told her to go get my wife. Mind you, in the past, in my previous relationship, I had in-laws interfere in my marriage, so I wasn't about to stand for that in this one. But she said basically, you need to go home, cool off. You and Jennifer can talk in the morning. And I was like, no, she's not staying the night here. Go get her. They said, well, you can either come and talk to her in the morning, or we could just call the cops. So I was like, I'm not dealing with the cops. Had my kids at the house, so I drove back home. Fast forward to the next day, Jennifer didn't get home until almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She had gone to church with my aunt and uncle, her aunt and uncle, but they were also my aunt and uncle. And she was introduced to one of the pastors, Pastor Kevin, and he offered to meet with us for marital counseling. And it was during that period of time he gave us some pretty awesome techniques that we could use. Things like couch time, which is sitting on the couch one-on-one for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and you basically the TV goes off, the radio goes off, the phones go off, the kids go off. You basically tell the kids, hey, listen, this is couch time. You are not to interrupt us at all. And one of the cool things, by the way, is if you have children, you can also do couch time with them, where you can sit down with them for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, however long you want to say, and tell your wife and your other kids, hey, listen, or your partner and your other children, this is couch time with me and Bree, or this is couch time with me and Daniel, this is couch time with me and Melly. Nobody's to interrupt that. That's a pretty awesome thing to implement. Another one was the talking stick. And I don't know where Kevin got these ideas, but they were very, very influential in our relationship. And when I was holding the talking stick, Jen would listen without interruption. And when I told her I was finished, she would repeat back what I said, thinking, interpreting what I had said to her. And then I would continue to talk until she finally got it. But So we made some serious changes. I'm actually going to bring Jen into this now. I'm gonna ask her, but just go ahead and hand it to me. Just what changed? What made a major difference in the relationship now versus then, especially when it comes to communicating?
What changed?
Yeah.
Well, I think that both you and I have learned to basically, try to stop before it gets out of control. We've learned that you can never take back what is said. The tongue is a wicked, wicked thing. Basically, we've learned that we have a choice, how mad we want to get. It's always better to focus on what it is that you're actually arguing about in that exact moment. Dan sometimes talks about the rusty revolvers. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up into the blame game. Start pulling out everything that might have bothered you from past hurts that you and your partner experienced together. So you don't want to hurdle the past arguments and hurts against each other. We just learned that there's just better ways to just back off, even if it means, just separating into rooms for a few minutes until, you can collect your thoughts. It's always important to maybe, have, little codes between each other, this is what we're going to say if it means, we want to, come back together, even if it's a joke, this will be our code, we want to work it out. It's always good to have little things that can bring you back together, even if it means your partner is turning on your favorite Netflix, movie or show. So that's the key. Come on, let's get back together next. Even if you're just gonna sit there on the couch together, just zone out for a little while after an argument. At least be next to each other. Just be in each other's presence, because that can start the healing process. Just being together. If you really love each other, you want to be together. You don't want to be separating into different rooms for the rest of the night. So we've just basically learned, to just, take it one step at a time. And, it's not always easy. The fights, sometimes they sneak up on you. You don't really know where they come from. But it's just better to keep your head and, again, have little ways that you can, find the path back to each other.
Very good. So, to add on to that, some of the other things to add on to that about finding the path back to each other. In our particular relationship, I am more the peacemaker to start off with, and Jennifer is more of the she'll create the safe space. She'll create the distance between us, so that the fight doesn't keep going on. So, but it works really well in tandem with one another to get those fights to come to a close quickly. For example, we have a small condo. We have an 1,150 square foot condo that we live in. It's a two and a half bedroom, 2 bath. We have basically split in half. We have the front portion of the condo and the back portion of the condo. The back portion of the condo is where the bedrooms are. The front portion of the condo is the common area, the kitchen and the living room and the dining room. So I'll sit out here in the dining room, and she'll go into the bedroom. And I know when the fight is getting to the point that it needs to come to a close, because when she's in the bedroom, that's usually when the tears come out. That's also when she begins to withdraw into herself, and that can be really dangerous areas. So I recognize that, and I'm thinking, man, it's 8 o'clock in the evening, or it's 1 o'clock in the morning, or whatever time it is. I don't want to spend the rest of the night angry with my wife. And it can be an hour into the argument. It can be 10 minutes in the argument. Usually, it's less than an hour. Would you agree with that, Jen?
Lately, yes. We try to be less than an hour.
So even at this point, it's even less than a half an hour. So what I will do is I'll walk in there and I'll say, listen, you know what? I know we're mad at each other, but I'm sorry for my part in this. And Jen's really good about doing that as well. We're really good at apologizing for our particular parts in that, because we both know that to actually create a fight, it does take 2 people. It's not one person, because somebody could sit there and pick, and the other one doesn't respond, doesn't engage, then there's no fight. But that's a whole nother dynamic of emotional abuse that we don't need to get into. So anyway, so I'll go into the bedroom and I'll tell her, you know what, I don't want to continue this fight, and then I will sit and I will listen to what Jennifer has to say to me about how I have grieved her, how I have hurt her, what I said that caused her to feel the way that she's feeling right now. And I'll listen, guys. Listen, this is really important. I want you to get this. If you don't get anything else from this, this is a perfect line to learn, and it's not a line. It's a way of life. You ask her, listen, babe, do you want me to just listen, or do you need feedback? And that's a miracle statement right there, because if you can just listen to your spouse the way I've learned to listen to Jennifer in the 9 years we've been together, it makes all the difference in the world, because typically what we do as men, we want to fix the problem or we don't want to talk about it. So instead of listening, we're thinking about what we're going to say next and dazzle our spouses with our brilliance. The actual thing that's going to happen is you're going to baffle them with your BS. We're not that smart, guys. You know, the reason why it's the Knuckleheads Guide to Marriage is God willingly created men to willingly throw rocks and sticks at dinosaurs, and we haven't changed much since. So, anyway, get in there, and I'll start the apology and listen to her, and then I'll, tell her, this is what I understood of what happened of it. Can we please move into the front room, and can we watch TV, or can we snuggle, or can we go get something to eat? But I definitely try to put a stop to it as quickly as possible. So that's my portion of it. The other thing I wanted to say is this: is that when it comes to it, I do the best that I can not to use sharp words any longer. I don't call my wife names. I don't call her the B word. I don't call her definitely don't call her the C word. I try never to attack her as a person. Like I do the best I can not to start calling her names or be really foul with the things that I say to her. The thing that I always keep in mind when I'm getting mad is if I heard another guy speak to my wife that way, how would I react? So I try to keep that in mind as well. But there's other portions of this because I know my wife has a different way of handling things as well. I'm going to go ahead and let her. So on my side, I'm talking about how I'll go in and I'll ask for the, please forgive me. Because I'm even watching it in my head. I sit down on the edge of the bed. You're laying in bed, and especially if you're crying or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I've walked in and have said, please forgive me. I don't want to carry this on. What happens next?
Well, you are very... you're a very, very good listener lately, especially in the recent years. It's really, I appreciate that you've worked so hard on becoming a very good listener. You know what, ladies, it's really nice when the husband can come in and say, hey, I don't want to fight. Let's work this out. Because anytime a husband does that, it's almost like they're coming and rescuing you again. Remember in the beginning, ladies, where, the husbands were after us, so for us, to date them, they're trying to woo us and win us over. Well, it's almost like they get to rescue the damsel in distress all over again, so don't ever forget that, that's sometimes how we ladies perceive things, is that even though, yes, you are the one who distressed us, but we still need to be rescued. Even in that situation, even if it meant the husbands were the ones that, caused the fight, or even if you both caused the fight, we still need the rescuing, because our emotions, how we are, ladies, can get the best of us. So it's really, really nice when, a husband can also come up and say, hey, let's work this out. What can we do? It's important when you're wrapping up an argument to basically, say, yeah, we worked this out, but is there any way we can make sure this doesn't happen again? It's a very big thing. You always want to try to make sure that maybe there's a possibility you can, make sure that there's a way to make sure that it, prevention as much as, intervention, but you also want to have prevention for the next time. You don't want to have a repeat argument over and over and over. So, but yeah, just basically, and ladies, when your husbands are open for that communication, like to work it out, try to use words like, this made me feel, it made me feel. Try to basically take the word you out of the conversation, ladies, because men do feel, sometimes they do feel vulnerable in those moments. You don't want to start saying, well, you did this and you did that. You just say, when this happened, it made me feel. So ladies, try to always focus on it and so forth. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can resolve your problems, but definitely you don't want the sun to go down on your anger, and that's why Dan and I have been working on trying to come up with conflict resolution in a timely manner when it happens. So I don't know from there.
Okay, so the last thing I want to add is this, because actually I'm going to go ahead and get on the couch. Actually, hold up that pillow right there for a second.
Oh.
Love you to the moon and back. This is actually the theme of our. This is actually our cake topper.
This is the cake topper. We got a cake topper for our
it says,
wedding.
"Love you to the moon and back."
And then we just fell in love with the slogan. So
yeah,
we got pillows.
So I've got all kinds of stuff that has "to love you to the moon and back" on it. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and join my wife here on the couch with her now. Mind you, it's like 2 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, 2 a.m. on a Sunday.
It's about 2 a.m. on a Sunday. Going into Monday already?
Yeah.
Holy moly, we got things to do tomorrow too. But we've just been chilling and just enjoy each other's company. But we really want to impart to you how important it is to stop conflict resolution and even pry sometimes if you know that something's going on with your spouse. If they seem a little withdrawn, if they seem a little quieter than normal, is to ask what's going on. And gentlemen, listen, because I'm a guy, I know this. We don't talk as much as girls do. We don't need to talk as much as girls do. The joke of the book is God created men to willingly throw rocks and sticks at dinosaurs, and we haven't changed much since. And I'm not a believer in evolution, but I do believe the fact that men learned to communicate quietly because of reasons like that. We had to hunt, and we had to learn to communicate without words. And women, being back at the cave in a community taking care of all the kids, they were talking constantly. So I just believe that men speak less. But if we want to have a healthy relationship, talk to your wife. Talk to her and ask her a lot of questions and ask her how is she doing. Check in with her. And if there's an argument going on, if there's an argument about to brew, especially if you know you've done something wrong, get it out of her and listen and be humble about it. In the book of James, it talks about the tongue being a deadly poison. You know, how can fresh water and poison water flow from the same fountain? Well, same thing. How can curses and blessings flow from the same tongue? But it happens, so be careful about that. And also, you know, it says if you hate a man in your heart, then it's the same as murder. So if you could hate, you know, your wife in your heart for something she did, it's the same as murdering her. Don't murder her. You know, and the last thing that I want to leave you with is watch what you say to her.
That goes both ways.
It does.
That
I
goes
understand
both ways.
that. I understand that. But you know, I want to actually acknowledge my wife here because when we first got together, the arguments were bad, and she's a world-class fighter when it comes to those types of things.
Who was in that? I was speech and debate.
Yeah,
vice president of the speech and debate team for a reason.
Man, yeah, I know. But the thing is she has learned to. Her temper can be bad. She scares me when she's mad. And it's funny because my kids, out of all of the adults that are in their lives, they respect her the most for the parental side of things because of how she is when she's being stern. But I want to honor her and definitely acknowledge the fact that she has stepped back and humbled herself when it comes to conflict resolution because she can be very gentle and tender during those times and make me feel really, really good about the fact that we've come to a resolution. But she can also turn around and rip me to shreds with just a look, and she doesn't do that anymore. She really doesn't.
I think we've both matured in how we have misunderstandings and disagreements, and sometimes it's just good to reflect on if even our Lord and Savior Jesus, if he was married in a relationship, how would he treat the sometimes it's good to look in that perspective. Right. How would he treat the partner?
Right.
He would be very humble, and
right.
And just like we should, we basically want to be humble right back to our husband,
Right.
And we feel like the pride thing is not supposed to be the winner here in this.
Right.
You've got to be willing to throw the pride in and throw the towel in altogether for the sake of your relationship.
Right.
It's not always about it's not always going to be about who's right or wrong. It's just a matter of, at the end of the day, whether the two of you are going to persevere, and that's what matters. And
right.
just because you can win a battle doesn't mean you're going to win the war. And the war is a surviving, thriving marriage.
Right.
That's the war. Don't ever forget about the war, and you want to be happily married for years to come, and that's the
right.
overall picture. Don't throw it in for just winning all those battles, because it's not worth it.
Right.
To lose your partner, it's not worth it.
No, it's not. So, and then I'm gonna just leave you with this. I gotta move my arm. Get over here. Sorry, guys. My arm is bugging me. So I'm going to leave you with this, is that the couples that pray together stay together. Jen and I are both born-again Christians, and we come from different backgrounds. I was raised Pentecostal. She was raised Catholic. And that's a different discussion for a different video. But we both respect each other's traditions of our respective religions. But we both know that we're both born again. Because of that, I always think of this is that I am talking to the daughter of the one true King, and knowing that I definitely do not want to treat her bad, and I will do the best that I can to make sure that for the rest of my life I'm going to honor our marriage and honor our relationship, so that I never have to deal with a divorce again. No matter where you're at in your relationship, please reach out to us. We have a passion for marriages. We want to help you. No matter where you're at in a marriage right now, we want to help you. Please reach out to us. You can email Jen directly at jennvspirit, and that's Jen with 2 N's, the V as in victory, and then spirit at yahoo.com for now, and then just put in the subject line Knuckleheads, and then ask the question, and we'll do the best we can to answer it for you. So 9 years and going strong, even better than before.
Way better.
I love my wife. She's my best friend. I can't possibly imagine being without her. I watch some of these other YouTube videos about people that are married, and the one that comes to mind a lot is Dear Meat for Dinner, the way that Robert and Sarah are with each other. I just love the fact that Jennifer and I are like that as well. So go ahead and subscribe, like the video, and comment below. But just keep remember, when it comes to conflict resolution, go at it quickly. Get to it quickly. Get the argument over with fast. The last thing I'll leave you with is, if you cannot come to a resolution, go get help. Go seek outside help.
Seek and you shall find.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin was a godsend to us, and he still is. He's a dear friend. So I'll leave you with that, and have a great night, YouTube. See you later.
Take care.
Anything you want to add before I go?
No.
Okay, see ya.
Talk to you soon, YouTube.
Bye.